We are at week 9. This is the last work week until finals, so we're finally here. And for this class, we end still with quite a massive amount of material. Many of you were talking about being overwhelmed by so much information that I had just focusing on the Israel-Palestine conflict. Well, I think many of you will certainly be overwhelmed by all the various information that I cover on the modern Middle East. But what I hope you do is you actually kind of maybe think about certain, focus in for yourself on certain things that I cover that might be more of interest to you or catch your attention than others. Again, of course, this has been a survey course, and you're just being exposed to a lot of things that if something catches your attention, you're going to want to jot that down, because obviously in this class you will probably walk away, I don't know, 10% of the information. I don't know what percentage it would be, but there's no way for you to just leave a survey course and all of a sudden have like tons of information in your head. But it is there, and so there's nothing like interest that actually gets things moving in terms of what you can know. So if a lot of this didn't interest you, then it'll probably be almost as if you never had the class at all. For those of you who are now interested more in learning about the world, well, here's your start. And like I said, what's going to happen later is when you're watching the news or you're looking at other things, you're going to hear things that something's going to click, and you're going to remember some of these things being talked about. Okay, so having said that, I just want to say a little bit about this week in the clip I have, and I'll try to be a little bit quicker than usual. So I have 2 clips that I'm also posting with my announcement for you to just take a glance at. I want you to look at the Casablanca introduction, and I really want you to focus on it. I was trying to remember if I was trying to rewatch all my lectures, and I still might have put it in one of them, but if not, the reason why I wanted you to is Casablanca by Humphrey Bogart, this classic, takes place in Morocco. And almost nobody that watches it actually really thinks about the fact that the film is supposed to be in Morocco. And yet there's all these white Europeans there, and then the American Humphrey Bogart. And there's a situation with the Nazis occupying France and the whole problem of World War II looming. And there's this whole theme to freedom versus, basically the free world versus the Nazis, all taking place in Morocco. And the question is, where does the Moroccans fit into this? Well, it's a colony of the French. So while an American and Europeans are having this ideological showdown with other Europeans, which are Nazis, about freedom, it's on the backs of Moroccans, and it's not even questioned, the blatant hypocrisy about the ideal of freedom. So the free world is sitting on top of the Arab and African world, debating about their freedoms. You see, it's compartmentalized views of ethics right there. It's blurring, it's just staring at you in the film. Now, also, you see, and this is really important why I wanted you to see, that Europeans were fleeing the wars and coming in mass as refugees into African countries and Middle Eastern, mainly this is Middle Eastern African countries. North Africa is mainly what you see here. Here they are coming as refugees, and they're not necessarily getting permission per se. They can do it because of colonialism. And now think of the irony now of the question of the refugee crisis now going the other way. Now, then I have a video clip from Nasser, who you'll learn about in the lectures. and he's making a joke about a law for hijabs, which are the head coverings for Muslim women to wear. And you'll see that he actually thought it was hilarious to even try to make women all cover their heads up. This is a very different world, the 50s. One of the things that I want you to walk away with, if I haven't made clear in my lectures, is that the Cold War altered the Islamic world. The United States supported Saudi Arabia versus Nasser, and in a sense, the anti-communism that drove the United States and the West, and competing for ideological influence within the Middle East, and even by further extension the Islamic world, ends up making the Middle East a more religious place, in Islamic majority countries. Because and this is kind of ironic, right? Because in a sense, the United States helped not just lead to the creation of radical Islamic groups, but actually made religious political ideologies more significant. The big concern the U.S. and the West had during the Cold War was if Muslim majority countries would go communist or nationalist socialist, and basically some non-religious political party that would break them away and move them into the Soviet sphere. Okay, so this is incredible, right? Think about it. And I have, the lectures, you may or may not get all the background on that. If that topic interests you and the lectures don't clarify enough of that, feel free to give me a call. So then I want to clarify something. I made a little bit, not a mistake, but in one of my lectures, I talked about the Ayatollah Khomeini and his veliti faqih concepts. Right now, you're going to be a little bit lost in this. I mentioned that a faqih is in Arabic, it's fiqh. I said scholar. I really meant to say jurist, a legal scholar. To be clear on that. So, for those of you who care, if you noticed this when I talked about this. I think a more precise word I should have used is more like an Islamic legal scholar when it comes to specifically to matters of Islamic law. And I just said scholar. That's a little more vague. Okay. And then lastly, I just want to mention that I'm kind of not up to date where I need to be. A lot of stuff has changed, but yet I feel like I gave you the foundation for everything. So ISIS, in the Middle East now, is somewhat eradicated, but not fully. The situation with ISIS has changed a lot, very quickly. We're in a Trump era, and here we are in a world history class. The election of Trump has made a huge impact on the world, positive or negative, or however you want to take it. And I just haven't really. I just feel like I'd rather you have this background information more solid on what's going on in the world, and let you kind of all of us collectively decide how to process where we're going at in this world with our new maverick, Trump. Keep in mind, I put the rise of the far right in Europe. Trump is a part of that. They see him as a part of their movement, and that's something I just wanted you to, maybe kind of reflect on. You'll notice that I'm not too easy on Obama, okay, on this. So I'm not a Democrat or Republican, just to let you know. And when it comes to U.S. foreign policy, I feel like actually they have been not that different, both parties. Obama was criticized for being anti-Israel, and yet he also gave the largest military aid package to Israel out of any president. Trump said things like, Islam, I don't know, it hates us. He came off very hard on Islam and radical Islam, and he just gave a massive military aid package to Saudi Arabia. I mean, huge. And he's been supporting them right now while they're bullying, if you want to put it that way, Qatar, or asserting their the drama with Qatar and Saudi Arabia is something you'll just have to look up yourself if you're interested. I'm talking about right now. So, U.S. presidents really have a U.S. system that approaches U.S. foreign policy. And again, we don't have time to tackle all that. One last thing, I wanted to make this announcement shorter, but I just read this book. I think it's very important. It's called The Shia Revival by Vali Nasser. He actually teaches, I think, at the Naval Academy. I'm trying to remember where at, but this is a very interesting book. He really actually made me realize just the significance of the Shiite and Sunni divide in a way that I didn't fully comprehend before, and how Bush's invasion of Iraq really changed the Islamic world and the balance of powers in a way that I might have addressed in the lectures. And at the time I read a little bit of this, but now that I've just about finished it, it's just really hit me on how that is driving so much. And right now there's really a power struggle between Iran and Saudi Arabia that is intense and could really escalate. And so much of what's going on in the Middle East is about that. And so much of our foreign policy, ironically, really promotes the Saudi Arabian foreign policy over the Iranian one. And that's a whole other topic too, if you're curious about or trying to understand. Give me a call and I can talk about that some more as well. So that's a lot of information. I don't know if this actually helped or made things worse, but I've really enjoyed having you guys. I've enjoyed your enthusiasm, take advantage of contacting me anytime the next week or two before finals if you just want to kind of go over anything that we talked about in this class. All right, have a good week.